Today's story was shared with us by Sandeep, who is from Andhra Pradesh. Before we move ahead in the video, I sincerely thank you for the love and support you're showing us. Sandeep shared 2 stories with us. He lives in a village in Andhra Pradesh, but I can't disclose the village name as it's a small community, and he prefers to remain anonymous. Sandeep explained that his family is very religious, and they conduct prayers and rituals regularly. Sandeep has always been deeply involved in these activities from a young age. He also mentioned that their family deity used to manifest in his father, who would give predictions to protect the family, which the family followed faithfully. When Sandeep was 20 years old, his father had accumulated a lot of debt. Now, every family has its struggles, so I didn't find it necessary to ask the details, but I gathered that there were loans related to their house or land that needed to be repaid. His father was doing everything he could to repay them, and Sandeep wanted to help. After graduating, Sandeep received a job offer for a bartending position in a village called Gandhi Baitnapur near Vijayawada through a reference. However, his family was against it, as they didn't want Sandeep working in a non-vegetarian or alcohol-related field. But as they say, necessity can make a person do anything, so Sandeep had no choice but to take the job to help his father repay the loans. Welcome to Horror Stories. I'm Ankur Pandit, and on this channel, I bring you real-life paranormal incidents and activities shared by those who have experienced them firsthand. Your comments are our motivation, so please keep them coming. Now let's resume back to story. When Sandeep moved to Vijayawada, he was assigned to live in a 4-story building. Sandeep shared that he had to live on the 4th floor, which the bar owners had arranged for the employees. There were 2 or 3 other people living with Sandeep on the same floor. He found the work at the bar very strange, as the environment was full of people drinking, eating, dancing, and shouting. He was only 20 years old, and such an environment was overwhelming for him, though he knew a more mature person of 25 to 30 years might have handled it better. However, due to circumstances, he had to continue working. His shift at the bar would end around midnight, and when the bar got too crowded, he would sometimes take a break and return to his floor, which was about 15 to 20 minutes away from the bar. This was in 2022 when Sandeep had joined the bar, and by 2023, things started happening. Initially, for the first 2 or 3 months, everything was fine. But since he had to eat there, he eventually started consuming non-vegetarian food, followed by smoking and drinking alcohol. He didn't realize when these things became a habit. Although his mind was conflicted, thinking about how devoted his family was to God, he couldn't stop himself. As they say, your company influences you, and soon he found himself deeply involved in these activities. At the bar, they would drink and eat even on the floor where they lived. Sandeep shared an eerie incident. One night around midnight or 1 a.m., he woke up and saw one of his friends, Anmol, in the washroom. He thought Anmol was just freshening up and went back to sleep. However, he woke up again around 4 a.m. to find Anmol still in the washroom. Sandeep asked, "What are you doing in there for so long? Why haven't you gone to bed?" To his surprise, Anmol replied, "I just got here. I wasn't in the washroom before." Hearing this, Sandeep became really scared, as he clearly remembered seeing someone in the washroom earlier. The next morning, he discussed this incident with one of the older brothers living on the floor, who dismissed it as a joke. Sandeep decided to call his father and share the experience. His father told him to wait a minute while he went to the temple, recited some prayers, and advised Sandeep to stay focused on work and avoid staying up late. Sandeep had previously mentioned experiencing sleep paralysis multiple times, but he was unsure whether it was actually sleep paralysis or something else. He was beginning to feel that something was off in the place where he was living. One day, while sleeping on his floor, the mystery of the place was revealed. The next morning, he told everyone, "I might quit this job because I'm repeatedly experiencing sleep paralysis." Sandeep shared that one of his friends knew about everything but acted like he didn't. That night, after their shift was over, Sandeep, his older brother, and his friend were drinking together when suddenly his friend said, "Look, I never told you this before, but I'll tell you now. Before we moved in here, this flat was occupied by a woman who committed suicide here. Sandeep remembered that the woman's dead body had stayed there for quite some time before it was recovered. Sandeep was shocked to learn that he had been sleeping in the same place where the woman's dead body had been kept. This connected the dots for him about why he was experiencing repeated paranormal activity. After hearing this, the older brother made a joke about it, saying, "Come on, nothing like that happens. If it does, let's prove it." He suggested, "Open the Ludo app on your phone. If there's a ghost or spirit here, I dare it to contact me. Let's see if it can roll a 6. They pressed the dice, and a 6 appeared. Then the brother said, "Okay, once could be a coincidence. Do it again. Roll another 6. They pressed the dice again, and once more, a 6 came up. Sandeep said, "Ankur, you won't believe this, but they kept asking for a 6 and it kept coming. For 30 to 40 times in a row, every time they asked for a 6, it appeared. After this, everyone was so scared that suddenly the building's lights went out. As I recount this, I literally have goosebumps because I had never heard of such a thing happening in all my experience." Somehow, they all held each other's hands, and, despite their fear and the alcohol, they fell asleep. The next day, they decided that they would only sleep there from now on and would neither drink nor eat in the flat. They thought that maybe the woman's spirit was upset that they were drinking and eating where she had lived. So, they decided that instead of drinking at the flat, they would go to a nearby lake across the road. This lake was located about 30 to 40 steps beyond a cemetery, and about the same distance ahead was a girls' hostel. Some girls stayed there, though not many. The rest lived nearby, possibly because there was a college or university in the area. One day, some other people from the bar came to the flat because their room was undergoing some construction work. Everyone was drinking and eating. Sandeep and his friend wanted to drink too, but they knew that if they took out their bottles, the others would finish them. So, they decided to take their bike and head to the lake to drink there. The view of the cemetery and the lake was very pleasant. Sandeep said that they started going there regularly. For example, if they wanted to smoke, they would head there after their shift, which ended at around midnight. Sometimes, if they ran out of cigarettes, Sandeep would ask his friend to go get some. Cigarettes were available about 5 kilometers away, and his friend would go and bring them back. One night, they went to the lake, and Sandeep had been drinking heavily. The open area, with its cold breeze, made the alcohol hit harder. Sandeep suddenly noticed a girl walking towards them from the girls' hostel. He said she gave him a strong, sisterly vibe. She was quite tall, around 5 feet 5 inches, with loose hair, wearing simple clothes, and her face was glowing. She was very beautiful. Sandeep became more alert as she approached and started a conversation. The girl looked at him, and Sandeep, noticing her, asked, "Sister, is everything okay? You came here suddenly." She replied, "Aren't you scared, sitting here alone?" Sandeep responded, "I've been through things like this before, so I don't get scared easily." He then asked her why she was there. She explained that sometimes, when the lights went out in the hostel, some girls would walk around, but she preferred coming to the lake for the view. During their conversation, she asked, "Where's your friend? Wasn't someone else with you?" Sandeep answered, "Yes, my friend went to get cigarettes. He'll be back soon." As their conversation continued, the girl asked, "What job do you have here? What's your qualification? How much salary do you get?" Sandeep had been drinking a lot and was just trying to make small talk. He didn't want to reveal how drunk he was, so he said, "I'm working as a bartender here. We live over there and this is my salary. I studied this and that." Then, as a side note, he added, "If you happen to know of any opportunities, please let me know, sister. I don't want to keep bartending. My family is under a lot of debt." Hearing this, the girl expressed her sympathy, understanding how sometimes family pressure forces people into certain situations. One thing Sandeep told me was that the female kept asking him repeatedly, "Where's your friend? He hasn't come yet. Where has your friend gone?" Sandeep wasn't thinking much about it and just said, "He'll come. He'll be here soon. So, Sandeep asked, "Sister, where do you live?" She mentioned a name to Sandeep, someone well-reputed and known, who often visited the bar and drank a lot. That was her father, but Sandeep didn't share the name with us because that person holds a good reputation where he works in Vijayawada. She was his daughter studying at the hostel there. Sandeep said, "Yes, he comes to our bar. I know him." The conversation ended there. Suddenly, the sister told Sandeep something strange. "Sandeep, you are very lucky." Sandeep asked, "Why, sister? Why do you say that?" She replied, "You have so many people who pray at home and you do a lot of religious activities too. You have many protectors, especially from negative things." Sandeep said, "Yes, sister, our ancestors, they come to my father and tell him things." The female responded, "That's good. I've seen you many times before." This surprised Sandeep, and he asked, "You've seen me?" She explained, "When you are smoking on the roof or in the balcony, I've seen you standing there when I am here." She added something that shocked Sandeep. "Do you know, in the building where you live, there's a very evil spirit that can harm people, but you've been protected because of your ancestors." At this point, Sandeep was too drunk to fully understand and simply said, "Yes, sister, I know." The sister stood up and said, "It's time for me to go now, I'm leaving." 5 to 10 minutes after she left, Sandeep's friend arrived. He completely forgot to mention what had happened and just said, "Someone was sitting in your spot and talking to me." His friend replied, "Come on, man. Let's finish up quickly and leave. We have to be on shift tomorrow." The next day, Sandeep was at the bar and couldn't stop thinking about the conversation he had with the woman. He told his friend about it in the evening, saying, "Yesterday, this female came and talked to me about our flat and things going on there." His friend cut him off and said, "Bro, I don't want to hear all that. Let's go to the graveyard today. I need to take some photos for Instagram, so let's just do that." Sandeep wasn't in the mood to hear about it anymore, so they went to the graveyard. There was only one guard there who knew them because they often came around, so he let them go inside. Sandeep was making reels for his friend, but since his friend wasn't very professional, they had to retake the shots several times. Suddenly, Sandeep's eyes fell on a grave with the name Anandita written on it. The woman who had visited him the previous night had also said her name was Anandita. When he looked closely at the grave, he saw a picture on it, and it was the same woman who had come to talk to him the night before. Sandeep was shocked. He immediately put his hands together and started apologizing. "Sister, I made a huge mistake. From now on, I won't drink or eat there. If I did something that hurt you, please forgive me." After saying that, he left. Sandeep told me in his recording that after that incident, his health deteriorated significantly. About 15-20 days after that, he quit his job, and it's been around 7 months since he left. He mentioned that his health had become so bad that his entire bag was filled with medicines like Dolo and Disprin. He said, "I've become so weak that I'm out of breath after just doing 2 or 3 push-ups. The location where I worked completely broke me down. It's left me so weak that I constantly think about what I did. I drank, ate mutton and chicken, and upset my ancestors a lot." He's slowly recovering from these things, but his experience was harrowing. Sandeep ended with a message, "Encore, I watch all your stories back to back, and I just want to request you, if your family is very religious and devoted, please don't do anything that could affect your family's faith. My ancestors saved me, but if you were in a similar situation, you might not be as lucky." Friends, I agree with this completely. If your family does a lot of religious worship and you're the only one who drinks heavily, eats mutton, chicken, or fish, it could impact you and your family as well. So, I'd advise you to be cautious. Key learnings from the story. 1. Respect for spiritual beliefs. The story emphasizes the importance of aligning one's actions with their family's spiritual values. Disregarding these beliefs could have unintended consequences, as seen in Sandeep's health and mental state. 2. Power of ancestral protection. It highlights the idea that family prayers and ancestral protection can shield individuals from negative forces, especially when they are faithful to their family's traditions. 3. Awareness of spiritual realms. The story suggests that spirits and supernatural entities may exist around us, influencing our lives in ways we may not fully understand. Ignoring or disrespecting these forces can lead to harm. 4. Consequences of negligence. Sandeep's downfall serves as a reminder that certain actions, such as excessive drinking or indulging in prohibited activities, can have physical, emotional, and spiritual repercussions. 5. Change and redemption. Even after experiencing harm, it's never too late to seek forgiveness and make amends, as Sandeep did by apologizing and vowing to change his behavior. Finally, before leaving, I request you all to please support my channel, subscribe, Horror Stories, and turn on the bell notification so you get the latest video updates first. Stay tuned to the channel until the next video. Thank you.